Hello friends, welcome to Learning with Edu4Sure. In this session, we are going to discuss about arrays in Python. So let's get started. Let us see a brief overview of what we are going to cover in this session. We will be discussing about arrays in Python, various operations that can be performed on arrays, how to create arrays, methods of arrays, and then we have a short exercise for your practice. Arrays in Python. What is an array? An array is a data structure that can contain or hold a fixed number of elements that are of the same data type. An array can hold as many values under a single name, and you can access the values by referring to an index number. Here, index number refers to the position of the element in the array. An array is composed of an element and an index. Index in an array is the location where an element resides. Index of an array always starts with a 0. The array module supports numeric, so to create an array, we need to import the array module. Following is the syntax for creating an array. From array import star. Here from is the keyword that is used to import the name of that module. Array is the name of the module. Import statements loads the array module in our program, and star refers to loading all the functionalities of the module in a complete manner. Array name equals to array type code comma initial values. Array name here refers to the user-defined name for the array that we want to give. Array on the right-hand side refers to calling the module's functionality to create an array, while the first parameter in this function array refers to the type code. Type code is a special code that is used to refer to the type of data we will insert in the array. Initial values are the list of values that we want to insert in our array. Two types of type codes are popular, like I, small I in single quotes is used to refer to integers, while small d refers to floating point values. Let us create our array using a visual. So suppose we have an array for which we want to import our array module. So for importing array module, we need to write the statement import array as ARR. Import statement loads the array module in our program, and this array module can be referred to as ARR. Here as keyword is used to create an alias or short name for the array module. Thus now we can refer to this array module with the name as ARR. We want to create an array of integer type. For this, we use a user-defined variable, say myArray, and this ARR module's name is now used to call an array functionality. So ARR.array functionality. Then within the parentheses, we are going to pass two parameters. The first parameter is the type code. Here we use the type code I to refer to integer type of values, and the second parameter is the list of numbers that we want to enter in our system. Now here we can see in the brackets we have 11, 2, 33, 14, 25, 16, 57. All these list of numbers will be inserted in integer type of array. Now, if we want to display the elements of the array, we can use print statement array elements are. This will display a message. Afterwards, we can use a for loop to iterate through each and every element of the array and thereby printing it. For I in range D0 to 7. Here I is the iterator which is going to iterate over the range 0 and move to element 6. That is 0 to 6 it will move. 7th is given as the last index. So Python is going to take one element less than this value 7 given. So actually the range is going to be worked on from 0 to 6 rather than 7. So here we can print my array of I. So this my array I within the bracket I is used to retrieve each and every element based on this I index position. Here I is taken to be the index inside my array. So it is going to iterate over the 0th element, first, second, third, fourth, till 6th element. So in this way we can print all the 7 elements of the array by looping it and iterating over each and every element of the array. Here in the visual, you can also see the my array developing in contiguous memory locations. That is, each and every element is stored continuously. It is a complete block of elements that is allocated memory, and assigned are the elements that we are assigning in the array. So here we can see 7 elements, namely 11, 2, 33, 14, 25, 16, 57. All of them are assigned the memory locations with indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 respectively. Now, what kind of operations can be performed on arrays? Various operations can be performed, namely creating an array, accessing elements in an array, updating elements in the array, adding new elements to the array, deleting elements from the array, and searching element using a given index or by value. Let us see some of the methods or functions that will help us to work with arrays, namely append method, which adds an element at the end of the array, clear method, which removes all the elements from the array, copy method, which returns a copy of the array, count method that returns the number of elements with a specified value, index method returns the index of the first element with the specified value, insert method adds an element at the specified position, which takes as index as the parameter. Pop method removes the element at the specified position. Remove method removes the first item with a specified value. Reverse method reverses the order of the array. That means entirely the array is reversed, starting from the last character to the first character value. Sorted sorts the array. Now, it's time for us to see some practical aspects of how to work with arrays. So here on our screens, we can see the Anaconda Navigator, and from here we launch the PyCharm IDE as we have done before in all our practicals. So we launch here and we see eventually the PyCharm IDE will launch up. So here PyCharm IDE has started up, and I eventually created a new project and a new Python file in which I have prepared some code for you to work in arrays. So let's get started with the code and see how arrays are working in Python. So in order to work with array, we need to import array as a module. So here we work with the import statement, and array is the name of the module, and we create an alias name for array, that is ARR. So ARR is going to be worked as a short name for this array module. So now we create an array with integer type values. Suppose the variable that we are using to create array is A1, and we are using this ARR alias to create and call the array method. So ARR.array method is called, and in the parameters we pass two values. The first is the type code, that is the type of integers or floating point values of whatever type of data we want to enter. So I here refers to integer types of data. Then after a comma, we pass the list of values that will actually be the array values. So here we pass list of values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these will become the array values. Now if we want to print the original array, we can pass on the message, the new created arrays, and then we can use the for loop for this. So we are using I as the iterator, which is going to iterate over the entire array. So for I in A1, I will iterate over each and every element present in this array and will eventually print it. So we can use for I in A1 colon print I. So this is going to actually print each and every element of the array. This loop will stop when no more elements in the array are there to be iterated over. So it is going to start with the first element, iterate over each and every element, and will print till the last element. Okay, so now after integer type array, let us see how we can work with some float type arrays. So if we want to work with float type array, suppose we create another variable, so d1, and we again call arr.array functionality, and here we pass now d. So d character refers to the floating point values, and the second parameter refers to the list of numbers that we have, say 1.7, 2.5, 3.4, 4.6, 5.8. So these will become the array values for b1 array. So in the same way as we previously displayed the values of A1 array, we can print the values for B1 array. So we can print the message new created arrays for loop. Again, iterator I is used to iterate over each and every element of B1 array, and then we can print I. So here we can see we can print the array A1 also and array B1 also. So we have learned how to create integer array and a floating point array. So let's comment the rest of the code and try to see what we have learned so far. So let me show you. I'm commenting the rest of the code that I have for you. And first of all, let us try to run this particular code and see what output we get. So we run this code. Okay, so you can see the output. So the newly created array for A1, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see the newly created array will print the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 when we are working with for loop. And similarly, for the newly created array in case of B, we have the newly created array will iterate over each and every element and will print 1.7, 2.5, 3.5, 4.6, and 5.8. Those are the values in the B1 array. Now, similarly, let us move to the next part of the code where we are going to see how various functions are working with our arrays. So I have the code prepared for you, which will help you to understand how things work in Python. So suppose you want to insert a particular value at some point of the array, so we can use insert function for that. We can work on with a1.insert, where we have, first of all, we give the position, and second parameter is the actual value where we want to insert. So here we want to insert in A1 array at first position, that is at index 1, the value is 7 that we want to print. So we can use the method insert for doing this. We can just print updated array, and again we can use the for loop to iterate over each and every element of the array and print it. Similarly, we can use the append method to add an element at the end of the array. So this append method will help you to go to the end of the array and thereby adding a new element in the array. While insert method helps us to add at a specific location, append method always by default adds the value at the end. Now, we can also use the slicing methods with our array elements. How we can do that? We can use slicing by using the same square brackets and a colon. Suppose we are creating a new variable, say slice array, in which we are putting the sliced or the chunked values out from array A1. So here in A1, we are using square brackets, then index value 2, colon 7. So this means from A1, we are trying to find out a slice from index 2 to index 6. Okay, it is again, the same point goes on that in Python, the last index is taken to be 1 less than what value we give here as the end index. So here it is going to slice the elements in the range from 2 to 6. And we can again iterate over the slice array and print each and every value in this slice array. Now, similarly, we can use the index method also to print the index of the first occurrence of the value that we want to. The index method takes the parameter as the value. So here, suppose we are giving 4 as the parameter. So it means the index function is going to print the index of the first occurrence of letter 4 in the array A1. So here we are calling the index method with the array we want to. So we are calling it with A1 array, and in the parameters we are passing 4. So index method will check the existence of value 4 in the array, and its first occurrence will be checked, and that index position will be returned as the output. Now, how we can update it? Now, updating of the parameter, updating of the value in an array is also possible by simple assignment. Suppose A1 2 equals to 9. How this line works? This line will actually reassign the already present value at the second position, that is at position index 2. The value will be updated to 9. In the same way, we can update any value we want to a new values. So by simple assignment, you can update the array. And finally, you can again use the for loop to print the updated array. So let's move in and see how this particular functionality works in arrays Python. So now let us run this program and see the output. So I click on run here. And oh, let's see the output. Let's analyze the output. So what we try to do, we try to, insert value at a specific position. Now you can see here the original array is given to be A1 as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and B1 as 1.7, 2.5, 3.5, 4, 4.6 and 5.8. So we are trying to insert a value at first index position, the value 7 we need to insert. So you can see here the value is updated now. Earlier it was 2, but now it has been updated to 7. So now what happened to that value 2? the value 2 exists there and it is shifted backwards. That means now value 2 is shifted to position third. So at index value 2 it is shifted. Now earlier it was at index value 1. So here now the point to notice is that the insert method inserts at a specific position and the previous value there is shifted backwards. In the same way, let us see about append. What happened with the append method? When we worked on with append method, it by default added the value 7.2 at the end here. So in append method, no position is given. It is not position specific. Rather, at the end, the value is inserted itself. Now again, let us talk about the slicing. When we wanted to get a chunk, a slice in the range 2 to 6. Now what happened is, if we analyze the updated array A1 contains only 6 elements. That is, the index positions are working from 0 to 5. But what we gave was 2 to 7. Now, array has a bounds checking, but when we work with slicing, array is, lenient in this. It doesn't throw an error that you are trying to, retrieve a slice out of the bounds. It doesn't throw an error to us. But yes, if you try to actually print the A1 of 7th index, it is going to throw an error. But as of in finding the slice, it does not throw an error. So this is, by way lenient. So it is not throwing us any error, rather it is printing whatever values could be there in this range, in this slice, whatever values could be found out, could be retrieved, it is showing us those values. So here you can see when we are trying to find out the slice in the range 2 to 6, it is giving us all the elements that it can in this particular index range. So it is giving us the values 2, 3, 4, 5. That is from starting position 2, the index position 2 is starting, and then index position 3, 4th and 5th. While the sixth position should have been there, but it is not present in the array, so it is skipped at all without throwing any error to us. So in this case, we can just remember that we can give the ranges in slicing. Python is not going to check for bounds checking, and it is not going to throw us any error in this case. So this was something very important to understand. Now, thinking about this and moving towards the index. Okay, so let's check for A1's index. Now again, A1's updated array is this 1, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here it is going to check for the index value where 4 is present. So here if we check where 4 is present. So 4 happens to be present at index value 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 is present at index value 4 only. So it is going to return us the index value 4. So the index of the first occurrence of fourth element is 4 itself. Now, we try to update the element by reassigning the element. So what we did, we actually reassigned the value at position 2, index position 2 with 9. So originally the value at index position 2 was 2 itself. Now it is going to be replaced by 9. So after updation, we can see now 2 exists no more in the array even. Rather, it has been updated with the value 9 here. So in this way, it's quite easy. Okay, now since we have learned about lists, strings, tuples, sets, and dictionary, so you may be finding quite easy to work with arrays. But one thing to note is that for using an array, you always and always need to import array module. Direct working with arrays in Python is not allowed. You need to import array module and work through it. So this was some important point of difference. While working with lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries, we do not need to import something. But for arrays, we need to import the array module. So this is how we can work with Python arrays. Now guys, it's time for exercise for all of you. Create an array of numbers, say nums, where you are given a list of numbers. You have to loop through the array to print all items, then add new value 51 to this array at position 3, delete 66 from this array nums, sort number value in reverse order. You can use clear method to empty the nums, and you have to finally print this numbered array in reverse order. So I hope this is quite an interesting task for you. You can easily go through all these assignments very successfully. So with this hope, let me see you in the next lecture. Till then, practice well and happy learning.